We had a client that we worked with, and she was really struggling with profitability. She kept raising tuition. She actually did 3 tuition increases within a 15-month cycle, and she still could not catch up. So I helped her work with our 6 money leaks in schools, and she only used 3 of the 6 money leaks and cut her expenses by 50%. 50. She did not fire anyone. She did not slash any of her programs, and she did not work more hours. Again, the 6 money leaks are not hacks or spreadsheets. These are patterns. They are small decisions that feel so normal that your school does, but they quietly drain your school's profit. So if you've ever wondered why you're working so hard, but still not seeing the return, this is your first step to clarity. Click the link in the show notes and find out what it's actually costing you.
Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, where we have conversations about education, leadership, and building a school of excellence. The goal on this show is to bring you clarity, up-level your mindset, and give you practical strategies and inspiration so you can show up with confidence and trust your decision-making. I'm Chani Wolshansky. I'm a mom of 4 under 10, a former New Yorker, and been in the early childhood field my entire life. And I'm so grateful that you've joined me for this conversation. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Schools of Excellence podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about what is the pyramid of excellence. Leading a school is extremely rewarding. It's also going to be one of the hardest things that you'll ever do because there's so many activities and goals and projects that can take up your time, right? Should you focus on team building, teacher training, parent relationship, your school culture, your time management, marketing, expansion, with your never-ending list of things to be done and decisions to be made, one of the greatest challenges that you face is knowing what's on your plate that you should prioritize in order to move the school forward. Knowing what to focus on and what to hold off until later can mean the difference between success and burnout. I'm going to say that again. Knowing what to focus on and what to hold off until later is the difference between success and burnout. You see, if you've been working nonstop in your school and then you come home and you flip open the laptop and you continue plugging away and wake up in the middle of the night worrying about something and you're still not getting traction, it's one of two reasons. One, the acceptance of the to-do list never ends. You can work for 120 hours straight, which, fun fact, is actually the limit right before permanent brain damage. And you would actually still not be done with your to-do list. The second thing is that you're focusing on the wrong thing based on the stage of growth that your school is in right now. You see, every school fits into one of the 5 clearly definable stages in the pyramid of excellence that I created. And I created it after having thousands of conversations with school leaders from all across the world, starting from Australia to Italy to Tanzania to Nigeria to all parts of Africa to every state in the US and all across Canada. And I created the pyramid of excellence, which helps you identify the stage that your school is in so you can start applying the right stages to get to the next level more quickly with less stress and building the right infrastructure and execution system to go along with it. You see, the greatest challenge that a lot of school leaders face, drumroll, is that they actually don't know what their greatest challenge is. They think everything is important. Everything needs their time and attention, but there's actually a hierarchy of needs. And if you want your school to grow successfully and not keep playing chutes and ladders, you know the game where you climb up and then you slide down, you climb up and then you slide down. Well, a lot of leaders have growth in their school look like this. And if you don't want that to continue, you need to do the right thing at the right time in the right order. A lot of leaders fall into the trap of solving and fixing whatever's the problem of the day, whatever's right in front of them. And it gives a really great positive relief moment. I save the day. You breathe. It's all good until it isn't. You burn yourself and your team out without realizing, and you feel guilty while you're doing it. And then you excuse it by saying, well, it's just the nature of the beast. You create and chase arbitrary metrics instead of really building sustainable systems. So if you're listening, I know you're a fixer. You like to fix things. You're a natural problem solver, and it's great. And I want you to be able to solve the problems in your school, also be able to build an incredible life for yourself. And so we're going to go into understanding how to know what to work on first. Let me give you a little more background into why I created this tool. You can't get out of the woods on instinct alone. You are biologically connected to yourself. If you are outside and you're listening to this right now, and it's pretty cold in the upper Northeast and other places of the world, blessed that I'm in Florida right now, so it's actually gorgeous weather. But if you were outside and it's freezing, you might be looking for a sweater, right? And you're looking around, where's my sweater? Where's my coat? And you're trying to get some warmth to yourself. And then all of a sudden, while you're outside, someone puts a bag over your face. You don't start going into thinking mode of, oh, I should stop looking for a sweater right now, and I should try and get this bag over my face because I need oxygen. I need to breathe. You don't think, it's instinct. You know exactly that right now what's more important is oxygen, not your sweater. Why is that important? Because while your school is your baby and you've worked really hard and you care really deeply, you are not biologically wired and connected to your school. So you don't know the vital needs and systems that need to happen next. You cannot go and gut and instinct alone. I think gut and instinct are rite of passage that you learn slowly through experience. But you cannot rely on that alone. You need a tool that can help you assess where you are and what you need to focus on. So we're going to start at the very beginning, and I'm going to walk you through all the 5 stages of the pyramid. But before I begin, I just want to let you know that if you're a visual person and you want to see the pyramid, and you also want to take the quiz that we have so that you can assess where you are in the pyramid, check into the show notes and click on the link that says take the quiz so that you can learn more. So now let's get started with the bottom of the pyramid. Now, you may want to take notes on this, or you can download the quiz and you can get some of the information from there as well. Either way, however you decide to work through this episode, it's going to be incredibly full of all the different questions and feelings that you're experiencing at each of the stages. So survival sounds exactly like it is. You're in survival mode. So a lot of the questions that you're going to be asking in this stage are, where do I find qualified teachers? How do I convert prospects into paying clients? Where do I market to get my ideal parents? Who is my ideal parent? What type of program or service should we provide? What are the needs of our ideal parent? How many kids do I need to fill capacity? What do I need to do to cover payroll and my overhead? Okay, so if you're asking these questions and you're not sure of the answers, it's because you're in survival. So here are some of the common feelings in this stage as well. There's a lot of self-doubt and uncertainty. So while it's common for every stage to have self-doubt and uncertainty, it's really magnified in this stage. And you spend a lot of time researching and looking for inspiration or watching what others are doing. But you're watching what other people are doing who actually might be in much farther stages of growth than you are. And so rather than that inspiring action, it actually does the opposite effect. It reduces your motivation. You're overwhelmed. It brings about this mountain of information that you consumed, and you don't know where to start. So your key focus in this stage is you need to know who you're serving, what your hiring system is, and your marketing engine. Everything else is a distraction. Now, if you want help on how to do this, or you're looking for resources, take our quiz. And after you take the quiz, if you come out in the survival stage, after you answer a couple questions, it'll show you some options of resources, both free and some coaching options of how you can help yourself get out of the survival stage. I want to invite you to join us today in our very special online community at the Schools of Excellence Lounge. This is our private Facebook group that provides support, education, and accountability so that we can flourish alongside each other. If you want to join us, click on the link in the description of this podcast or search Schools of Excellence Lounge in Facebook and request access to join. I hope to see you there. Now back to our show. So let's go to the next stage of disordered. Disordered also sounds exactly like it is. Your school is disordered. Okay. Your initial optimism and excitement has gone out the door. And now you're faced with some of the harsh realities of leading and running a center. You're on a 24-hour treadmill, you're gasping for air, and you're probably not sharing it with a lot of people because you're ashamed and embarrassed that you don't know what you're doing. Some of the questions that are typically asked in this stage are, how do I stop accumulating debt? How do I focus on debt eradication? How do I create parent referral programs and incentives so that we can do things internally? You are trying to figure out why the teachers are coming to you constantly with who goes this and who does this and where do I find this and what happens here, right? You're answering lots and lots and lots and lots of questions, and you keep on getting interrupted and interrupted and interrupted again. And every time you sit down to try to do some focus work, the door knocks again. And again, you're answering another question. The roles and responsibilities of both your staff and administration are a little bit confused. People are struggling with who owns what and what do I actually have permission to do? And should I use my own judgment call here? People are really confused in this stage. Be mindful also of your negative self-talk, okay? A lot of times where I hear directors saying like, am I really cut out for this? Can I really have this conversation, right? And your heightened emotions lead to decision fatigue and stress. So on top of all of this, what's happening in the disordered phase is you are working so hard that if you have a family, your conversations with your partner become really rare. And it's usually logistical around, who's picking Johnny up from school. Your interactions with your own children are very minimal and they're fraught with exhaustion and a lot of mental fatigue. What's happening here is your family are actually getting your leftovers. And you promise your partner, I'm just going to send this one more email and then I'm coming out. And that email turns into 2 hours. And I know you're listening to this and you're taking a deep sigh right now. And you're thinking, oh my God, that's me. Or you're nodding your head and you're saying, yeah, I've been there. The key focus in this area are the foundational systems, which we teach in the Schools of Excellence program, which is the gratitude system and your time management system. These are the systems for the foundations to build sustainable growth in your school. Without these two systems, you cannot build, grow, and scale. You need to have your proper gratitude and time management structures in place. If you want to know what the gratitude system is and the time management system, I'm actually going to be doing episode 3 and 4 on those systems. Let's move into the integrated phase. At this stage, you've built the foundations of gratitude, which I talk about in episode 3, and you've also built your time management system, which I'm going to talk about in episode 4. With this solid system, you're ready for the integrated phase where you and your team become integrated into the school. So a lot of the questions that you're asking in this stage are, how do I reduce the bottlenecks that keep coming up? How do I let go of efficiencies in the operational side? You're asking questions on like, how do I train my team right now to become up to date with these things? You're trying to understand, how do I lead my team? How do I train them without exhausting them? What am I supposed to do with classroom observations? What am I supposed to observe? Like, how am I supposed to do this? You're asking, are people's roles and responsibilities a match? You're trying to understand how to give your people permission to solve problems so that not everything has to go through you. This is an area where you begin to create your infrastructure for your one-on-one systems. This is where you build your teacher development plan. This is where we introduce the concept of the 6 performance keys, which are the 6 key areas that every teacher needs to work on to be a teacher of excellence. This is where we introduce the 4 forces diagnostic, which are the 4 key areas that directors need to grow in to be a director of excellence. So this is where a lot of diagnostical tools and systems come in so that you can really understand where every single person on the team is holding so you can create the right growth and development plans for them. Now, this is one of the biggest traps for school leaders in this stage because they're very focused on new projects and developments, and it's exciting and you're building a lot of incredible things, but many people forget the foundations and they let them slide. And they let it slip one too many times and they actually fall right back into survival. The integrated phase is also where you're going to spend the majority of your school leadership career. This is where all the messiness happens. In order to really work through this phase, you need patience and patience and more patience. And you need discipline and follow through and holding people accountable and yourself accountable. This is a difficult phase to be in, but it's also a super rewarding phase because you're building incredible infrastructure and team to build the legacy that you're looking to create. This is also a place where you have a realignment of vision and mission for your company. This is where many leaders reassess, what am I really doing? And what do I really want to build? And what does growth mean for me? All right, let's go to the aligned phase. This is where parents, teachers, and you become aligned. So questions in this stage are people's dreams in the company aligned to the path that they want to have with their life? You're asking things like, how can I create a better quality of life for myself and my teaching team and my administration? You're wondering, are all the people in the company empowered to give feedback so that they can grow? This is also where you're thinking about, do I want to expand? Do I want more locations? Or am I looking at going deeper and stronger? These are just different questions that you're asking. There's no right answer. And then you finally get to the legacy phase. This is where you start to look at acquisition. You start looking at the assets that you've built in the school that you can use to help other leaders. You've really built a name for yourself. You're a leader. You have a steady flow of teachers who consider it a privilege to work in your school, right? You no longer have to take warm bodies. You've built a culture and a school of excellence. A lot of questions you're asking here are, is there a plan for leadership to stay fresh? What is my succession plan if I want one? And how am I constantly reevaluating my vision and other areas of interest that I want to explore? Thanks for sticking with me to the end here. These are the 5 stages: survival, disordered, integrated, aligned, and legacy. As I went through this with you, you maybe think like self-diagnosing, like, oh, I'm probably in the disordered phase, or I'm probably in survival or integrated or whatever it is. That's great. It's great to use your instinct and your gut of, listening to what I was sharing and kind of self-assessing. Also going to really encourage you to take the quiz so you can really go through the questions and see why we place you in a certain phase of the pyramid so that you could really know what systems and processes you want to be focusing on so you can remove bottlenecks, reduce inefficiencies, and you can actually create the relationships with your staff and really build an incredible school of excellence. Thanks for investing time to listen to this episode on the Schools of Excellence podcast. I am so honored to be surrounded by committed school leaders like yourself who invest time in growing themselves and building their schools. Until next time, show up with confidence, lead with empathy, and trust your decision making because everything that you need is inside of you. And hey, if you want to be connected with other like-minded school leaders, please join us in our Facebook group, the Schools of Excellence Lounge. You can find that link in the show notes along with other important links from today's episode.
If your accountant has ever told you to cut back on professional development or slash your teacher appreciation budget or your staff development budget just so you could stay afloat, or has told you, hey, you probably can't go invest in that program, please listen. The problem is not that you're spending too much money on your people or yourself or your investment or your support system. It's that your school has invisible money leaks that are draining your profit, leaks that no spreadsheet will ever catch or accountant. So I created the 6 money leaks of schools that show you the 6 core areas that schools lose money every single month without realizing it. If you close even one of them, your profits will start to soar without sacrificing your team. Go get it now and stop blaming the things that are actually building your school.